What's good, everybody? It's your boy Reckless here once again, back at it with a brand new interview. And today, folks, I have a special guest that I've been a fan of for many years. Kind of inspired me to even do this kind of stuff on YouTube. Got me inspired to even check out artists that rap, that inspired me to rap. So without further ado, I want to introduce you the one and only No Love.
What's going on? What's cracking?
And my brother, it's an honor for me to be here out here
appreciate
in an
it.
undisclosed location to see what
all good.
Right?
Yeah, we're in the Bat Cave right now, as Mousy used to say. So we're in the Bat Cave.
Exactly, you feel me? So just off the bat, just so people who may not know who you are, let them know, who you are, how you got started and stuff. You know what I'm saying, and all that.
All right, so I got a few names, so they call me No Love, Perico Lokz, Barrio to Barrio, a couple other ones I probably can't say on here, but that's the intro on the name. Currently I do the Instagram stuff. I got my own website, homeboyrap.com, barrio2barrio.com. Own several companies over the last 20 years. No Love Gear, homeboyrap.com, the Barrio to Barrio DVDs, and From the Streets to the Studio series, released in Northside Rolla. So I've done a little bit of everything over the years, and so it's hard to kind of put it into one bottle.
Yeah.
But just been there, done that. Was a guy recording in the background while your favorite rappers were doing their shows, and I was the one following them around and kind of putting their stuff out there when nobody really wanted to record us or mess with us, or we were too gangster. Those are the the Nortes and all that stuff. Like I was the guy recording your favorite rappers, so that's kind of what I've done, documenting all that stuff. Just kind of your local barrio historian, as my homeboy from Oakland once called me. So yeah, that's kind of who I am. So yeah, that's just a little light intro. I'd be here for about another 2 hours if I broke it all down.
Yeah,
so we'll get into the interview.
Yes, sir. Man of many hats. You know what I'm saying. So one thing I really did enjoy is you were the one who put on a lot of the Homeboy rap scene rappers that led the way for the newer cats that come out today. You know what I'm saying. What inspired you to even make a platform for them to just start putting out their content, movies, or not with the DVD back in the day, and music CDs? What inspired that?
Being a fan, bro. I mean, I'm a fan, and before that I'm a homie, so that was one of the things when I first the thing that kicked it off for me when I was about 13 years old, 14 years old. I heard From the Body Will Love the tape. And I remember hearing the it was on, I think, City Casualties. Mr. Key says, shout out to homeboys back in FMT slamming 4 OOZs, and I was just blown away. Like, what the fuck? Somebody said my city's name, what? This is crazy. And, this is the 90s, and we thought maybe they made a mistake. Maybe this is like FMT in Arizona or something, like a different hood or something. So, that kind of inspired me when I was younger. And then as I got older, I was obviously in the streets and gang banging and doing all that stuff. I'm from Irvington and Fremont. That's my hood. That's where I'm from, Irvington Square. So just being a homie out there, and that mix of you're a fan of rap and you're a homie, and then there's homies that started rapping. I was like, what the hell, this is crazy. We got cats out here rapping. First it was Darkroom, and then when I got older, I'm starting to see Woody and these cats are coming out. Then Black and Brown is I'm starting to get into a young man, and all these other Speedy and these guys are coming out. So I'm seeing that, and I'm like, man, this is crazy. I wanted to be a producer back then. I was making beats. That's what started me out. Before anything, I wanted to make beats, and so I was like, I got in the game, started making beats, and then that's how I started meeting other rappers. And then I'm like, what? I kind of want to promote these guys. I see all, I'm meeting Speedy and Bugsy and all these guys, and also I was there when he spit his first rap and stuff like that, and it's all starting to happen back then. And I'm just like, man, I want to push this. It was a love as a fan, and then also I'm a businessman too, notorious for selling stuff, been doing it for years, and so it's just that blend of liking to sell stuff, collecting, being a homie, and then knowing these guys personally. It all came together as one, and that's why I was just like, all right, I kind of want to do this. And when there wasn't a platform, I know you were on East Coco back in the day. That was kind of all we really had.
Yeah.
And I'd be on there, and I was like, there's no real site. Woody would sell his stuff on East Coco, but I couldn't get Oso's album on East Coco. I couldn't get Sir Dino or any of it. It was just his stuff. But you'd go to another website, Darkroom Studios or whatever, and it'd be only their stuff or something. I'm like, man, there's nowhere where I can get everything, So kind of started seeing that and like, man, I want to put on for us, and that's kind of where it went from there, and started building and started the websites and making beats and getting on CDs and stuff like that. So it was a little networking. But yeah, the guy who actually introduced me to Speedy and them Stars Limit was Leño Loc. Remember him from back in the day? He was from South Fremont. I knew him from the streets. We went to school together. He was younger than me, my sister's age, and he was like, yeah, I'll be rapping on Speedy and them. And I said, all right, well, I want to meet them fools. He's my little homie. He'd come over to my house and we'd make beats and he'd rap over them and stuff. I was like, man, I want to meet them fools. So he took me to Hayward one day. I met Bugsy and Speedy and them over there, and that was it. We started doing business together, and I would give them, like, you got the No Love stuff, I'd give them the shirts and say, all right, here's some shirts, wear them when you go out. And that's promoting my company, and people are like, oh, I seen Speedy in that No Love shirt, where do I get one of those? And I'd be on East Coco, like, here's where you get it, and go to my website, or I sell them on here. And I'd send some to Woody and say, here, bro, here's some shirts, and he'd send me some CDs. Here's a couple CDs. And that's how I started networking and meeting other rappers, because I had the clothing line. It went from, it's really like chapters in my life doing all this stuff, bro. Like, I started off doing beats, and then I seen, like, okay, well, I can get with these guys and make, money selling their CDs. Let me start the Homeboy Rap stuff. So then started homeboyrap.com from, my first thing was No Love Entertainment. That was me making beats and trying to rap. There's a couple songs I did, you might have heard, like I put them up, I uploaded them, and, it's just like, I figured, man, my voice sucks. Nobody want to hear me and shit. So to be honest with myself, like, I'll play the background making beats, and then I figured, okay, I can make money selling CDs. Let's do this. And so that's how everything started building up on that, bro. And from there, just little by little, I'd get in from one company, start another one, and every about 5 to 7 years, I was kind of starting like a new thing. From there, I get bored with one company, and then I want to do something else. But that's really how it started, and it started snowballing from there. So
yeah, that's dope. I mean, you were one of the first on the wave of the internet, and used the internet to benefit, your craft and your companies and all that before everyone started doing it, right away. People mostly just to themselves, or didn't even know what to do. Like, oh, how do I get this CD out to the people and stuff?
Yeah, bro, it was rough back then, bro. There was, the one who had a really good platform and nobody ever remembers, bro. Only people from, like, I'm gonna say it and you're gonna know, but a lot of people are gonna watch this interview and be like, who the hell is that? Was Sad Clown from NorthernRiders.com. People would be like, Northern Riders. This was before. This was like, you're talking 2001, 2002. This dude started a website, and he was literally like the first YouTube. You would send him your videos, like, hey, bro, can you upload my music video on here? And he would have like fight clips and E40 on BET. He was like the first YouTube for rap and stuff. He had all that stuff, and bro, nobody ever talks about Sad Clown. He was one of those guys that you've seen. He was starting website for other people like Newark Alifas and Lady Tragic. They used to network with him. So I was seeing all that stuff, and I'm like, man, this internet stuff, like, this is the way to go. Like, I was total anti-internet before I got my computer in 2004. And I remember I seen a video how to make movies, and said you needed a computer. So literally next day I called Dell, hey, I want to get a computer. They sent me one a couple days later, and that was it. I got online, and I was starting to get on these boards, and I got on eBay, and I found out like how people sell and shit like that. Like they gave me a credit card on eBay for $500. That was my first credit card, and bam, I ran that thing up to $500, and I had to pay it off. And I'm like, man, I need to start selling stuff. So I started selling stuff on eBay, and that's how I started selling online. Right there was, I learned how to sell from there. After that, GoDaddy hit me up, was like, if you want to start a website, here's that. And I started a website with GoDaddy, homeboyrap.com, 2004. And then after that, Barrio to Barrio around 2011, I got that one. And it's the same website, but I own both names. Like, I've owned them since I started, but I've been paying on homeboyrap.com over 20 years, and that's still my website. A lot of people can't say that, like, there was websites that were sick as hell back in the day, and they're not around anymore. Like, people don't own those names, or they lost the rights to the names, and they have to pay $4,000 or $5,000 to get the name back, like that. That's what they did with SpeedyLoc.com when that thing, because remember when that was running, they had the first chat. SpeedyLoc.com was the first chat out there. East Coco was the first forum. SpeedyLoc.com was the first chat. Like, you can go there and just like an AOL instant messenger. Everybody was talking. You were talking to chicks and homegirls and all dudes from homeboys from other cities. Hey, what's up, homie? Everybody was on there. Oh, it was cool, bro. And then when they lost the website, they couldn't get the name back because they wanted to charge, like, they seen how many hits they were getting, and they're like, all right, well, we'll sell it back to you for like 5,000 or that kind of stuff. So you're just like, screw it, And so that's why they lost SpeedyLoc.com. And ever since I seen that, was like, I'm not losing my stuff, bro. Like, I own all my originals, bro. Like, all my videos, all of my disc and all the archives and all that stuff. I literally own all that stuff. And seeing back in the day rappers like E40 and Master P talking about owning your originals, I seen that and was like, I'm gonna be that guy. I own all my shit, so I own all my stuff. And don't nobody own my videos or none of my stuff but me, bro. People have bought stuff out, like leased footage and stuff like that, but I own all my stuff. And, seeing those kind of businessmen back in the day, like people don't talk about, they don't give game to their homies on how to be businessmen. They make money off you, but they're not telling you, hey, this is how you can do your business and this is how you get it. But I learned from watching other people, and I put that together and said, I'm going to do that for my people, bro. I'm going to make us money, and we're going to get known across the world, and I'm going to interview these homeboy rappers, and I'm going to put their shit out there for everybody. And little by little started picking up. At first people were like, I don't give a fuck about this fool from this little town I never heard about. I want Woody and I want Sir Dino, and that's all. I want Speedy. They wanted the top 3. If it wasn't that, they're like, I don't give a fuck about this other shit. And so it was a process trying to get people to know who these rappers were and kind of respect their craft. So that, and I know you've been around a long time, bro. Like, you've been around for what you're doing now, and you've been around as a fan and a supporter, so I know you've seen this process too, where you're like, yeah, that's how it was. Like, people used to fucking get mad at paying Woody $1,500 for a verse, bro. They were like, no, I'm not paying $15. Come on, bro, you're a homie, let me get. Bet those same people right now would have made that $1,500 last year just on iTunes, payments alone for having Woody on their album. So if you're thinking about getting somebody on your album or on your video or on your podcast, pay that person, bro, because that's your footage, that's your shit. I own all my interviews. I got all these interviews with your favorite rappers from back in the day, their first videos and all that stuff. That's all right here, so that I try to stress that to people, bro. If you're gonna do it the right way and own your shit and be that person who's the first to do it and shit.
That's right. Straight gems. Make sure you pick up on that. What I'm saying? Don't be lazy. Don't be cheap.
Yeah.
Because it's a good investment.
It's an investment, bro. You invest in yourself. People look at it like, oh fuck, I gotta put, like, back in the day it was CD. Now it's like podcasts and interviews and stuff like that. But back in the day, rapping was the thing. You wanted to get as many features in. I got Brother Lynch and Mac Dre and Woody and this person. You're getting everybody's like little niche freaking genres right there. You're getting their sales. So that's how. I want to get some Norteños to buy my shit. Let me get Woody or Speedy or Tito or one of them. That's how you did it back in the day. And fools did not want to pay. They're just like, do it because we're homies. And bro, those fools made so much money on iTunes now just having that stuff. So invest in yourself if you want to make money long term. I mean, put it this way: if you own these things in 20 years and people want to find out, I mean, we're in that age of technology and information. People want to know all this information, bro. So it's a good investment to own your own archives, let me tell you. So I upload footage all the time, and I monetize my footage, my pictures, all that stuff. So I invested in myself a long time ago, and people thought it was a waste of time. So
and look at you now, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah, so I ain't mad.
Yeah, you said you leased stuff. Like, I remember you've leased some footage from your famous DVD from the studio to places like History Channel and stuff. Do you still get residual checks from that or not?
No, I got a one-time payment from them, and man, they cornered me, bro. It was Tower Productions, because History Channel doesn't make that. It's like another production company. They run that series, and then they kind of, they make it and then they get it on the History Channel. Oh, okay. It's not the History Channel like sending the History Channel film or anything. Tower Production was the side company who did Gangland. They hit me up and said, hey, we've seen your footage and we want to use it on our video. And I was just like, fuck, man, like, I don't really want, like, I knew what Gangland was, and I think it was already out of season. I'm like, damn, man, like, I don't know, man. First off, how'd you find out about me? Oh, well, we really don't talk about our sources. And I go, I bet the police told you about me, right? I go, that's where you heard it from. He goes, well, in so many words, something like that. And I go, okay, I already know. The cops probably referred him to me, like, if you want any footage, this guy has a website. Because I was the only one uploading that stuff back then. So I was the only one with the homie DVD. So they referred him to me. They hit me up, and I go, well, I don't know, man. What, I don't know if I want to sell you my footage, because if you put my footage over someone that's a snitch and you got a picture of this guy who's from this neighborhood, it's going to come out really bad. And I said, you guys go to these hoods, you film one time and you leave. I said, after you leave, I still got to go to these neighborhoods. So I'm not going to do anything that's going to put me in jeopardy. And the guy told me, because someone had uploaded my DVD to YouTube, he goes, look, we can pay you for your footage, or I can just go to YouTube and do I can't even think of the word right now, but the phrase they use, but it's basically you use it as like it's a community footage. He's like, I could use that and not pay you and just use it it was on YouTube, you know, I can use it for free. It's like, oh man, all right. So start talking, and they told me how they do it. Like, you get paid by the second. He's like, all right, you know, we'll pay you like $50 a second per footage, and they use, you know, a couple minutes of my footage. So that's kind of how I got paid on that. They literally sent me some contracts, and I was specific. Like, look, I want blurred face. If you're gonna use my footage, blur all the faces out. You're gonna do this, that, and the next thing. Like, I had it all itemized, and they went over the contract. They signed off on it, sent me a check a couple days later, and we were good. And then they told me the release date of it, and I remember we went to Tito's that night, and we were all there watching it. We're just kind of like, damn, what's gonna happen? You know, what's going on?
That's this.
Yeah, that's what we're just watching it. Like, man, we're waiting for it to start, and it started, and we're just like, damn, we're even kind of just like, man, we don't know what to expect from this, or you know, they're gonna get us, or, and you know, they abide by everything that was in the contract, and so, you know, it was what it was. You know, I've had people, oh, you know, I seen such and such on there, and it's like, that was the footage, you know. But that's literally why people were jumping in front of my camera back in the day. It wasn't like, hey, go jump in front of it and show your tattoos and throw gangs. Like, this is me filming, and I'm filming for this. Bam, bam, bam. You know, they're doing all. I'm not telling anybody to do that. I can go through my archives right here, bro, and show you on footage that people were eager to jump in front of the camera. They wanted to do all that stuff, and so, you know, it was what it was. And yeah, they cashed me out on it, and I actually found Ganglands earlier. It's hella funny that you bring that up, bro, because I found a couple like 4 seasons earlier today when I went to the flea market buying stuff. I found all 4 seasons, and I was like, oh shit, I don't even own these. So yeah, it's hella funny that you asked today, because I just found all 4. I've been looking for those for years too, and just got them. So
that's you're probably watching them right now. Like,
yeah, I'll be watching them tonight. Like, all right, let me after watch the interview. So okay, let me go back, make sure. But yeah, that's how that happens. So
for sure. And going back to the homeboyrap.com, like, I know you probably said the top 3 of the big sellers, but like, was it safe to say those are the main sellers from the whole website, or were other artists like selling a bunch of stuff too?
Like on my website,
yeah, like what's the big money maker on there?
Man, GUN obviously. I couldn't get Quete a lot back in the days. It was really hard to get Quete albums. You just for some reason couldn't find them. The only one I think I ever got was a bootleg, and until maybe a couple years ago, I found a legit one that I bought and resold to somebody. But before that, only seen bootlegs. GUN, anytime I got them in a red case, even a black case, things are gone, bro. $100 minimum. This 20 years ago, $100 minimum, and now, you know, you get $300, $400, $500 on those things. You have a seal one, maybe even more sometimes. But yeah, that was always the #1 seller. The more rare, the better, or the more banged out. I mean, you had like some of your top albums that were like your Northern Ghetto Boys and your Speedy Locs, and those are always going to sell regardless. You know, someone's always going to pick those up. But it's how much you were able to sell these things for. Like GUN, fuck, if I got 20 of those, bro, you best believe I'm probably gonna make over $1,000 on those CDs, you know, instantly. If I get, you know, 20 Woodies or 20 Speed, I could sell those for $20 each, or, you know, 25, maybe $30, you know, even back then. But these were ones like it was like, name your price, bro, name whatever. And I've had CDs where I got them like that, or tapes, and it's kind of like name your price, whatever you want. People are cashing out on them. So yeah, that's how those were really good sellers. But a lot of the underground guys, they would sell good. Like Criminal, I'd get his stuff. He always sold good. Baby Boy Anna, anytime I get him, all of his albums sold. Who else? Anything 559. If you could find some 661 stuff, 408, you know, Kill a Shark, stuff like that. Things were always selling it. It was just the more rare, the better. That's what people wanted. They wanted the rare stuff. But for the popular artists, Criminal, Baby Boy Anna, Speedy Loc, Woody, Dark Rooms, any of the rare Dark Room stuff, A.K.A, Homicide Kings, any stuff like the more banged out the cover, the better it was selling. So yeah, all that stuff sold, bro.
No, that's what's up. I mean, I remember just going through anything I saw that I didn't buy it, I just buy it right away on the website.
Oh man, I remember getting a lot of orders from you back in the day on the site, and I see your name and your address, and like, damn, this fool bought another 4 or 5 CDs. You know, you used to buy hella CDs. Yeah. That's when they were $10.99. You know, I'd be selling them on the site. So
easy. And plus, it wasn't my money I was using. It was my money. But she fucked up, and like I think she was in a hurry. Just like, all right, just do this, and this, and you can buy it. I'm like, all right, cool. And she like, all right, bought it, thank you. And then she left. But what she didn't know was that it saved her information.
Oh yeah.
So it just goes by again, like
You're
it's already there.
clicking
Bye. It was like
appreciate you, thank you. Yeah, those are the good old days. And I used to sell so much on homeboyrap.com, bro. Like literally, I got used to just waking up every morning. I'd get up and just bam, orders. You've got mail, and my shit would come down, and it would be notification, instant payment, notification. It's all PayPal, notification, instant payment. Just like, all right, cool. So yeah, I got used to every day just sending out packages. That's what I do now. Like every morning I wake up, packages ready, get all this stuff ready to send out off to the post office, and then back home to repost. But yeah, that's how it was back in the day, man.
Yeah, it's the good old days. And nowadays it's a whole different game now. Now it's all streaming. You hardly see hard copies anymore.
Yeah.
Like, do you feel like the Homeboy Rap game is in a good spot right now because of, even though due to all that stuff, or do you think it was much better back in the day?
I think it depends on how you're looking at it. If you're talking about like instant money wise, back in the day was it, bro. Like you could just go to Rasputins like Fat Steve or Mousy and them cats, you saw any other rapper in the Bay, jump on a BART train and fools were trying to sell you CDs in there. But bro, it was literally like some days I was bored. I'm like, I'm gonna go to Rasputin and see if I can sell some CDs. Hey, you listen to rap? Bam, start making some cash right there. It was almost like ATM money. Just you pull up somewhere and you could start selling. You went to these events, you're selling by hand. But now, someone might not have cash. You got Cash App or Zelle or something, that kind of stuff. But, bro, these were just cash in hand. I remember we went to the 559 with Koner, Fat Steve, and when Criminal invited us out there, and we were in, I think, Visalia on the corner. It was on the DVD, and we were just, all four corners, all of us just out there. Got CDs for sale. Fools are pulling up, cashing out. You're talking just like hundreds of dollars right there in a couple hours we just made just selling CDs. Each of us, we're all making money. The more popular the artist, if they see Koner, oh shit, you're Koner. Yeah, let me get one of each. It was one of those things. So it was just crazy how you used to be able to do it. And now it's a little simpler with, Cash App. Someone might do it. It's just a different kind of hustle. But I felt back in the day we would make so much money so quick, and just pulling up to any little city because people were like, oh, we're not going to see them again, or we're not going to get it while it's good.
The novelty of like, I saw him here, and I'm going to know where I'm going to see him again. Shows weren't as prevalent as they are now.
Yeah, see, and I'm glad you said that because it brought into my mind the fact that like back in the day, if you wanted to get a hold of your favorite rapper, you went to like East Coco and freaking maybe, hey, can anybody get a hold of Big Osalok? And then maybe one of Big Osalok's homies seen that, got a hold of Big Osalok, told, hey, someone's trying to get a hold of you. He went on there freaking on someone else's computer. It was that whole process of trying to get a hold of your favorite rapper. Now you want to get a hold of your favorite rapper? Oh, let me send him a DM. So it's one of those things. You don't have to wait till they come to your city and then start cashing out. It's just like, well, I'll just hit them up. Maybe they'll sell me something on there, Cash App, Venmo, that kind of thing. But yeah, bro, when you would pull up, these fools would live. Oh man, I've been saving my money to buy, $50 worth of CDs or that. Oh, I only got $8 left. Shoot it, homie. Here's a CD. That kind of stuff. You literally out there just getting money left and right, man. So I think that's the big difference. And it was easier to get it, but it's easier to promote now. Like doing that, bro. Back then, we're driving to every city. We're putting miles on my little Nissan. I'm going to pick up Tito and Dakota. Coming back, getting Koner maybe wherever he's at. We're driving to freaking the 559. Like, we don't need to do all that shit. We'd had to make flyers. $200 for 5,000 flyers. You're doing that stuff, passing them out just for people to walk by, look at it, throw that shit on the ground. That's why, like, when I sell flyers now for $100, people are like, why? How do you do that? Because I literally watch people throw this shit on the ground. I'd be like, let me put a few of those away for later, and that's how I make money, bro. So it's just we had to put in a lot more legwork, and we had to put a lot more money into it, and now you can literally be on your phone. Don't need to know a graphics guy. Don't need to know graphics. Just come in, a couple of texts on, in your Instagram stories, and bam, you're selling. You're making money. You don't have to put any money into it to make money. And yeah, it's just that's the thing that's crazy. It's cool. You don't have to put anything up front, and you could just start getting this cash. But also, everybody thinks they could do it now. Before it was like, fuck, do you have the money for flyers? You got the money to press up? When people said you was a SoundCloud rapper before, you laughed at people, bro. You literally made fun. This fool's a SoundCloud. He can't even press up a CD, bro. He can't even press up 500 CDRs. Like, you were clowning on it, and now that's how fools are getting it. That's how they're worldwide known for SoundCloud rappers.
You got the last laugh at the end.
It's exactly, bro. And so, it's that you had to put in the legwork, and now it's super convenient. So I think that's, you know, the big difference. And now it's a little easier, but more people are gonna jump into it because it's so easy to do it. You don't have to get out there. You don't have to leave your mom's house. You don't have to leave your hood, and you're freaking famous, 2 million followers. Everybody knows your dance, you know. So
there you go, monetizing all your stuff.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So that's where we're at now. Everybody can get it.
True. I get this question a lot just because people know me as a prolific like fan of the whole scene. But like, I'll ask you the same question. Like, do you prefer the old school like homeboy rap scene of artists, or do you like the new style, like where it's at, or do you like that better?
I'll be 110% honest with you, bro. I don't even really listen to too much new homeboy rap. As funny as it sounds, because I was the homeboy rap guy, I kind of stopped listening to most of the homeboy rap stuff after 2010 to 2015. You know what I mean? So I didn't. And plus me, I'm an old school kind of guy, bro. Like, I like the shit that I grew up listening to, or you know, the stuff that takes me back in time. You know, if I'm listening to it now, that's a new memory to me. You know, like when I listen to these old albums, like, oh shit, I remember when we used to be out there doing that. And, you know, we'd be out there running around listening there. Me and Tito be driving, listening to this song like that. That's kind of the memory. So it's not an insult to any of them that I don't listen to them. It's just I'm getting older, bro. I'm an old guy now, you know what I mean? It's not like I listen to the newest rap, bro. You know, how is it for, you know, this old man to be listening to the newest rapper down the street? You know, so that's one of those things. And there's just a lot of youngsters out there, bro, and you know, it's just that generational gap. Like, and I'm not out there with them, and a lot of them, I mean, most of them don't even follow me or hit me up or anything either way. So I don't interact with them. Most of them, they've never even said, hey, you know, I know what you did, or I know who you are. And I know who they are, I know what they make, but they've never reached out. So it's a big generational gap, and I know if I ain't doing anything for them, most of them probably ain't gonna be hitting me up. And it was the same thing back in the day, bro. If I wasn't selling these rapper CDs and promoting these rappers' albums, do you think they'd give a fuck who No Love from Irvington was or what? Hell no, bro. Most of them, even the ones I helped back then, they don't even hit me up now. So it's I get it, bro. We've done our part, and we've all got, you know, I helped them push their careers or their albums and made them money. They helped me get footage into my archives or interviews or whatever it is, and it is what it is. We did business like that, and I respect it. And you know, it ain't talking bad. It's just, you know, that's where we're at now, and we're older men now, bro. We got families and shit. And you can't be focused. Oh, I need to focus on the homie now, or bro, if it ain't paying our bills now, we honestly ain't got time. That's where I'm at too. Like, I'd rather be out there at the flea market and doing all that than going to rap shows and shit, bro. I like kind of just being by myself, getting out there, getting it. I pay my bills, my mortgage, all the shit I need to do doing this, and that's just where I'm at. If fools don't want to, you know, collab, or we don't interview, that's cool. You know, we got a lot of memories together. We were all cool back in the day, and no love lost or anything like that. It's just we're all moving forward, and some of us, we ain't on the same path. Like, a lot of these homies ain't gonna want to go to fucking garage sales with me and go do flea markets and shit. You know, like, going to their rap shit is their business. Like, what I'm doing now is kind of my thing. And I put it this way, bro. Give it 5-10 years when everybody's doing fucking garage sales and whatnot, and you're like, oh shit, I remember when Nola was doing that. And then bro, it's the same shit when I was doing homeboyrap.com. It's the same shit when I was selling CDs. Fools see your hustle, they fucking mimic it, and then they do it, you know, what they're gonna do. And fucking mark my words, bro, because I seen it 20 years ago, and that's what ended homeboyrap.com, was me doing shit for people and then being like, oh fuck, I see what he's doing. Oh shit, I'm gonna go do that. They're going to my stores now. Instead of selling me their CDs for $5, they're like, I'm gonna go sell it to the stores for $7. Cut this fool out. So I get it, bro. We've interacted in our lives. We came at our point, the fork in the road came, and bam, now we got to go our own way. So like, no love lost. When I see these cats, hey, what's good, homie? You know, shake hands and a hug and all that stuff, share a couple memories. But you know, we're men now, and we're on a forward path, and you know, we're doing what we got to do for our families and for ourselves. So you know, it is what it is,
man. You know, times change and stuff.
Yeah, you know, we ain't all gonna be even you know, rest in peace, my boy Tito B, man. Before he passed, fucking, you know, we weren't driving around like we used to. He was working more, and he was fucking trying to focus on buying the house, and I was trying to focus on buying the house, and I was doing what I had to do to save money and shit. So, you know, we weren't taking trip, but doesn't mean that fucking when I ain't gonna call this motherfucker every 3 or 6 months. Like, what are you doing? Fool, what's crack? What the fuck's going on? And, you know, start talking shit to him, and he's talking, fuck you, motherfucker. And, you know, that's how you are. You know, some people you just pick up right where you left off sometimes if you guys are cool like that and shit. And you know, same thing with some of these other cats. We had our memories, and we can't be doing fucking road trips forever and being at the fucking rap show. Some of them, the ones that are still doing it, I salute these fools, bro. Getting money, they keep it moving, and they're doing what they need to do for this movement right here. And I am not mad. I played my part in this movement, and they're doing theirs, and they're taking. I mean, I can't be fucking filming for 50 years. This old man filming all the young homies and shit. Someone in their generation is gonna be the next No Love is out there right now filming all these youngsters. They're going to shows and they're going to LA to do, you know, No Jumper. There's someone out there filming all that shit right now that in 20 years they're gonna have an archive like that I got, and hopefully someone's capturing these moments, bro, because that's why I did it, to one day be like, all right, let's look back and see what we did. And so, you know, we're all playing our part in the story and shit. So that's the way I look at it, bro.
Do you think that artists pay the proper homage to the people before, you know, like the dark rooms? I mean, Woody will always get his props, but do you feel like the artists nowadays, even though he might not like give props to the old generation like they should?
I mean, it's gonna make some people mad, but I don't think so, bro. And you know, it's a generational thing, and these guys got their own shit to worry about. But I feel like when we were in our generation, and the way I look at it too, when I say generations, I look at Homeboy Rap as 3 generations. You had that first generation of like your DJ MTs, your Sir Dinos, these guys that were rapping in the 80s and 90s. In late 90s and early 2000s, you got Speedy Loc and, you know, Bugsy, Stars Limb. You got this next generation, the guy Woody and all these guys coming in. And now I feel like we're in the 3rd generation where you got these newer guys that are coming in, you know, so... You know, let's kind of get that established, that there's different generations to it. But I feel like when we were in our 2nd generation, Tito B always wanted to get, you know, Darkroom or any of them, Mr. Key, the guys that he always wanted to get them on his albums, you know what I mean? And fucking a lot of these other guys, they wanted to shout out to Darkroom, and, you know, they were giving props and not, but I haven't seen it. But again, I don't listen to a lot of it. Maybe I missed it, but I just don't see it online. And you know, I don't know. Like I said, I don't listen to a lot of it, so maybe I'm missing it, but I haven't seen it, bro, and I haven't caught anything. And I feel like more people are focused on themselves and their own labels, and they think, like I said, you don't need fucking someone else's name to kind of make your own name now. Like, you don't need a feature from this old school artist. New fools just do what they do, and, you know, 1 million follows and 1 million hits, and fucking it's good. So you don't really need to ride someone else's coattail or kind of, and that was what sometimes it was let me get a feature from this person, and all their supporters will buy. That's how it was. Let me get Woody on here, so all Woody's fans will buy. Let me get Darkroom or Sir Dino, so all his fans, like, that'll sell 300 units, 500 units by itself minimum. But I don't feel like it's that same thing anymore. It's more focused on like yourself and your label and that kind of stuff. But maybe I missed it. I don't know.
Yeah, it's all good. When it comes to like your whole like brand, like when you made the Homeboy Rap Radios, that was like one of the first podcasts. You were one of the first on the podcast here as well.
HBRR. Welcome to Homeboy Rap Radio, the only online spot by the homies for the homies, with co-host Tito B. What it do?
So like, do you ever feel like you're gonna bring that, like, you know, out of the archives so people can listen to those old episodes or whatever? Do you still got those old episodes?
I do. We did 4 episodes of that, and I believe they were like an hour each. And it was, when we did that, I kind of came up with the idea to do it, and I always, like, Tito, me and him just vibed so good when we did shit, bro. Like, when we came together, we knew our part. Tito knew I was gonna hype him up, and he knew he was gonna be the fucking hype. You know, he knew he was gonna be the guy they want to watch. And so this fool, as soon as the camera turned, like I would grab my camera, fucking this fool knew it. As soon as it, hey, what's good, it's Tito B, you know, fucking he just knew how to turn it on. And fucking when the camera was, I was like, all right, you know, what are we doing? That kind of shit. But this fool knew when to turn it on, so I knew having him on there, like, bam, he's gonna be fucking the one that leads the show. I'll be there, I'll be the informational guy, but he's the Howard Stern. He's the one they fucking kind of, you know, they go there for. We would have Bugsy on, and Bugsy would be like the Andy Richter, like the sidekick. And he's like, we're making fun of him and shit, and clowning jokes on him and stuff like that. And then we'd have artists, and we'd ask them questions, and I would throw, like, I had a big Homeboy Rap collection, so I would pick, you know, maybe like 5, 6 of the best songs that I would think, put them together for a show, and we'd do it just like a radio show. Start off with one song, come into us doing an interview, talking, go into another, come back, all right, and that was such and such, you know, we do it just like that. And it was cracking, bro. Like, people liked it. The first show that happened, everybody fucking loved it. Went into the next one. Then I think by the 3rd one, we were telling people, all right, we're gonna do call-ins. So call in at this time, and we'll have, we'll take your call, and you can leave a message. And we were like literally doing stuff like that, bro. And people were starting to fucking like it. But this was at the Record House in Fremont, Abe Legend Studios over there, and we would do it. Because Abe was like the best engineer, bro. He was the fucking man for sound, bro. So he said you could do it here in my studio. So we did it over there, and bam, it was cool. Loved it. He did the fucking best sound shit. He would add all the, HBRR and all the effects into it. Like, he was the man who really set that apart. If it wasn't for Abe doing the sound, it would just fucking be us talking. You know what I mean? Yeah. This fool really chopped that motherfucker up and made it sound like you were listening to 94.9 on there. Like, you really thought, that's a legit radio show. So he's the guy who made it sound like it was supposed to be what it was. But we were really just talking, bullshitting, and just adding songs in there. And I've uploaded, I think, maybe 2 of them on YouTube, but I got hit with, because it was, like Woody's music would be on there, and so I got hit for copyright stuff on there. So I think maybe one of them got taken down or something. I'd like to upload them, but the problem is back in the day we were able to do so much on YouTube, bro, and all of a sudden when the monetization thing, it's really good, for a lot of people, but when that came in, it really limited us on what we could do on some stuff, because like a lot of our old stuff that they said was acceptable on YouTube 10 years ago, they're flagging us and, you can't monetize. You like, what the fuck, this was cool to upload, I should have got grandfathered in on these old videos, those kind of, I was under your old contract, and so that kind of messed up a lot of stuff. And I've had a lot of videos that used to be on my page get taken down because they got flagged, and interviews and stuff, they get flagged and taken down for one reason or the other. So I think like artistically, I you get limited on what you can do because of that stuff. Back in the day, it was like, what if I felt like editing a video, if I felt like telling a story, adding music in, bam, I did all that and added in, and people fucking loved it, bro. And now it's like, I'll upload something, I'll get a copyright, let me re-edit that, bring it back down, take this music out, take this song, upload it, another copyright, let me take that. So man, it's like, bro, you can't even be as artistic as you want to be. You have to be as artistic as they allow you to be.
So, and if anything, you gotta do it through a paywall. Like, do Patreon, want to hear the unedited version. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's very far few people are gonna go out the way to try to pay that.
That's the problem, bro. And
people like the convenience of YouTube.
But everybody has their platform that they like. And that's even the thing, bro. When I got on YouTube recently, and I started like about maybe 2 years ago, I said, fuck it. I'm gonna start going hard on this. I'm gonna upload all my stuff. I'm gonna monetize, and I'm gonna just make it happen from my archive. Bro, I would do that, and I'm thinking, all right, I'm gonna upload this old school footage from 20 years ago. Bam, I'm gonna get hella views. Fucking 127 views in like a month and a half, and I'm like, what the fuck is this, bro? Like, what the fuck is happening? Like YouTube, when I heard they did this algorithm thing, I'm like, what the fuck? Like, before it was just you upload a video, you got 3,000 followers, your 3,000 followers are getting hit with that new video. And now it's just like, if it's not an algorithm, ain't nobody, I'll have 6,000 subscribers and 127 views on a video, which makes no sense to me. Like, it just makes absolutely no sense. So when I seen that happen, I'm like, all right, let me go back to Instagram. Instagram hit me. They said I could monetize, and that's why I've been uploading more there, because I prefer Instagram. That's my platform. When I first started doing the kind of like archive stuff in 2011, when I first got on Instagram, it was really about like, okay, this is where I can upload pictures and videos and all my old stuff and let the world see now. It wasn't just one thing like, you can upload a picture but not a video, but it was like, bro, you could upload everything on here. So yeah, that, I got into that, and yeah, it's just, I don't know. I kind of went off on a tangent on the last one.
That's what these interviews are for, man. Yeah, you want to hear this game, bro.
Yeah, but that's kind of how it is, bro. I just feel like you're kind of limited now on what you can do and shit. And like, I have all these ideas, but I'm like, fuck, I can't even do that, because this, I'm gonna get flagged for a Tito B song in a video that Tito B said I could make, and he gave me permission, but he's not even flagging it. It's somebody else, like it made Bugsy. He told me he's got flagged on his own videos using his own music. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, like, man, like, it makes no sense to me, bro. And I don't like that aspect, but I like the aspect of being able to get my stuff out there for people to watch, and have a home base for my archives, where people can just go there and say, all right, this is the shit he's done over 20 years or his life or whatever, and that's all I want to do, bro. Like, I'm getting older. In my family, like dementia and Alzheimer's. That thing's kind of, you know, it's happened before. So I just don't want to have all these memories in my life and all this shit that I've enjoyed and that other people could probably enjoy one day, and it's just stuck in my head, or it's stuck in a video that's gonna get sold into the state sale or get thrown in a fucking dump somewhere. Like, I don't want that to happen, bro. I worked too hard and I did too much to capture all these memories for the world to just let them fucking, you know, get lost or stored in the closet. So now I'm like, you know, I need to uplift. If something happens to me, I want all my shit up there for people to watch. Or if my kids or my family want to sell the footage one day, or they want to lease out footage to do whatever, like, it's there for them to make money and that kind of shit. And today, archives, information, all that stuff, old footage, like that stuff is, it's money, it's history. You could do a lot with it, you know. And so I want to leave my archive for them to do what they want, but I want to put it up for the world to watch before I go, and, you know, hopefully they enjoy it. So that's why I've been doing it a lot lately, because I don't know how many days I got left, bro. And, you know, honestly, like I said, I don't want to be stuck in my own head with Alzheimer's one day, just thinking of all these memories, and they're, you know, off doing, you know, wherever they are, and nobody's seeing them, you know. So
and we appreciate you for all the work you've done, you know, especially me. I appreciate all this stuff that I've been a fan of for many years, you know.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you. Yeah, it's been a long road, bro. It's been a long road, and it's a trip, because like, I used to be out there on the road, bro, and fucking, I used to sell CDs, obviously, but when I'd be out there on the road, it was sell CDs or film. And so most people, it's no-brainer. Sell CDs, make that money, bro. But to me, I'm like, man, I could make this money right now, or I could film these fools, and then maybe one day, like, this footage will be worth something, you know. And I'm thinking, too, like, I'm going to capture this footage, and like, someone's gonna want to see it, you know, in the future. Whether right now I go home and upload on YouTube or whatever, like, someone's gonna want to see this shit, bro. And so that's kind of, you know, why I started making it happen. Was just like, yeah, let's get this footage, let's get it out there, and, you know, let people see our story from our perspective, not fucking ABC News reporter telling our story, or some person who's never lived this life telling the story. And I think that's the big problem today, is that a lot of people are on that, like, they're telling stories about people they ain't never fucking met in their life. All these YouTube personalities and shit, and I see, click on this to see the story of this motherfucker I've never met before, and oh, are you serious? So
it's crazy, man.
I'm just not a fan of that shit. I'm a fan of, you know, us telling our stories and not letting somebody else water it down and shit. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna tell our stories. So.
And speaking of telling stories and footage that we need to see that we were interested in, Cali Thuggin needs to be out. And one question I have is that you think that you dropping your Frontiers to Studio DVD kind of like deterred him from dropping his DVD, or
not at all?
What do you think it is that's not out? And are you on that DVD?
I had a couple. I've seen the Cali Thuggin DVD before. It is hella good. I used to go over Bugsy, just like, you know, I was showing you footage a little bit ago. That's how I used to go over Bugsy's, and he would just pull, hey, fool, check out what I just edited. And pretty soon, you know, you're just watching an hour and a half movie with them, and he's like, yeah, that's everything I got. I think I'm gonna put it all together. Bad as fuck, bro. It's what inspired me to do From the Streets to the Studio. Was I seen him doing that when I first met him. I'm just like, damn, this fool took all his footage and edited and, you know, did this and made a little movie. And I'm like, man, I got all this footage at the house. Man, I could do that shit with all the footage I got, and I'll even film some more stuff. So he inspired me with that, but I don't think that, you know, it deterred him from doing it. I think what it was, bro, and he's never told me, and this is just from my perspective, is, and I know editing and I know filming and all that shit. He lost his brother, you know, him and Speedy, they were super close. And even when I'd go visit them in Hayward at their apartments over there, them fools, like, their rooms were, you know, right next to each other and stuff. These fools, one would be in the other room, we'd be in Bugsy's room talking, Speedy'd come over, he'd be in the door. Could literally see him in the doorway just talking, leaning up against the fucking frame and shit. And, you know, they were always really close. And he followed him filming so much. I mean, fucking, you're talking hotel parties and fucking rap shit. And, bro, they did everything out there. And now you got to edit that footage of someone you loved, and, you know, that was like your best friend and shit, and you got to sit through about 50 hours of watching them. Like, bro, I could hardly sit through, you know, 5 minutes of watching the footage of my grandma, you know, just as not even editing, just, you know, just watching the footage. So I can only imagine you having to sit there for X amount of hours to cut up all this footage of somebody you love more than anything, and, you know, they pass away and you're never going to see them again. And that's tough, bro. Like, it's hard to edit footage of, fuck, even just losing your homies, and that was his brother, you know. So I honestly think that was it. It's just fucking so hard to go back there and just sit through all that shit, bro, and edit, you know, fucking someone you lost. And It's hard. And not only that, I mean, it was so long ago. A lot of that shit that we did in that video, if you ever seen it, bro, you'd be like, damn, these dudes are grown men now. You know, they don't think the guys that were doing that shit 20 years ago, they're not like hyped up to have a video of them out there popping guns or doing donuts and, you know, acting a fool. And now their kids are like, Dad, that was you 20 years ago, fucking popping guns on the Cali Thuggin DVD. So, you know, I think there's a couple other factors that are involved, but it's one of those things that's why when you get things, you got to release it in the moment, bro. You know, your fans are there for that moment in life, and one day they're gonna get old and they're not gonna think the same, and they're not gonna want to watch fucking sideshow DVDs and, you know, bum fights and all these kinds of things. Like, they're gonna get old and not want to, you know, that stuff's not gonna appeal to them anymore. So you got, you know, that so many years have passed. I think that, you know, we passed the prime of what it could have been, and, you know, it's just the footage, I believe, is still there. I think he has all that stuff, but like I said, it's the editing, it's the, you know, we're older guys, and it's the Bugsy doesn't really need the money. You know, he's got a good career, and, you know, he's living a good life, has a really beautiful home and family and stuff. So it's one of those things. It's not like he needs it, you know. It's there, and, you know, maybe one day someone will do something with it, but
maybe, you know, a little Speedy might do something with it.
Maybe you know, kids or grandkids in 50 years, you know, and we're all dead and we can't complain about it anymore.
Right.
So, you know, it'll pop up.
And so you know now.
Yeah, so you'll see hologram Cali Thuggin coming out, but that's what I think, and that's my opinion on it. And I've seen it. It's fucking sick, bro. It's one of the sickest.
From everyone I've talked, even Tito said, like, it's basically the hardest DVD that ever exists.
It was way better than both of mine, bro. The footage he had and just everything he captured. Not only that, Bugsy's really good at editing. He's badass at editing and a lot of the shit. So when Bugsy films and he edits together, like, it's one thing for me to film and have my vision on what I think the film, the view should look like, but when you have it in your head what you're gonna film, and then you have it in, like, the whole project from start to finish in your head, Bugsy's that kind of guy with those kind of, like, he's really good with technology and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't think he'd have any problem editing up a sick DVD again, but it's just, you know, one of those things. Does he have the time? Does he really want to do it? And, you know, you lose passion over that stuff too, bro. Like, when you're young, you want to do this shit. The older you get, like, I don't give a fuck. I don't want to go out there and film in the hood and fucking, you know, go to the meetup and go film fools doing dope. You know, you kind of get older and you move on from that shit, bro. So my advice to anybody, if you're filming, if you're out there trying to get interviews and do this stuff, do it now while you love it, because one day you ain't gonna love it as much as you do today. And I speak from experience. I filmed hundreds of hours of footage and I loved every minute of it, but, you know, today I don't really feel like going out to the hood and go film. I'd rather just kind of, you know, live in a day of peace and go enjoy what the fuck I want to do and do what I want, make the money I want, and then go home, go take a nap and get up and do it again, you know. So that's my advice to you guys. Do it now while you love it, because you're gonna be older one day and you ain't gonna want to do this shit. So
real shit. And when it comes to your 2 DVDs, you know, really impactful, first of its kind, and then a really dope anticipated sequel. Like, what are your most memorable moments from each one that you know are the most notable for you?
For Barrio to Barrio, I think hands down it's got to be the Oakland segment when I went and filmed in Oakland, bro, because that was the first time I ever filmed footage where my jaw dropped while I was filming it. Well, like, and I didn't even realize, like, I was filming it and these fools, now just bam, jaw dropped, and I'm like, oh shit, you know, let me put that right back up, because just the stories these fools were telling me over there, and fucking literally. We were on, I think, East 15th and 23rd over there, and these fools had us on the corner by the liquor store, and we just walked from one corner to the other across the street, back and forth, fucking pointed about 50 bullets all, you know, and everything. There's holes all over that wall, there's holes through that fence. This fool died right there, another fool died right there, about up the block, another fool died. Literally everywhere we're pointing, bullet holes and death is everywhere. And I'm just like, fuck, like, I'm from the Bay, bro. I ain't no stranger to fucking violence or gangs or any of that shit, but ain't ever seen it like that, bro. So when I went out, and this was just one street and one block, well, you know, thousands of others in Oakland. So this was just one corner, and for them to tell me that many stories, and oh yeah, I seen this little 15-year-old homie got killed over here, and I seen this other dude get killed with an A.K.A, and then when I was a kid I seen this kill, you know. It's just like, god damn, like, after a while, like, I didn't even realize, just like, oh fuck, like, damn, these fools be going through it out here. And that, you know, that's life in the big city, bro. That's the difference between, you know, living in East 23rd in Oakland and living in, you know, a small town like in the valley. Not to clown anybody or say, oh, it doesn't create. Every hood got a ghetto, bro. Like, every fucking city got a ghetto. But man, like, in the Bay Area, you think that like when you live in the East Bay, oh fuck, we're slick. Like in Fremont, I thought, man, we be cracking out here, bro. We on our shit. And then I would meet fools from Frisco, and these fools, you'd meet them, they'd be like, hey, what's good? What's good? Like head on a swivel. Fools are just, on point for everything, every little noise, just watching like, man, these motherfuckers are on everything. And like, bro, I thought we were on our shit, but man, the bigger city you live in, bro, the more you're used to just shit cracking, shit going down. I've been to small towns where fucking ain't nothing going down out there, bro, and you're like, fuck, man, ain't nobody even watching their back. Or, bro, I go to Oakland, these fools are just every car that passed just looking around like that. So, and I'm from, the East Bay too, bro, and I'm thinking we're on our shit, but nah, bro, the more in the city you are, the more these fools are on their shit, the more they got to deal with, and the harder it is out there. So to go into Oakland and film that and just be like, damn, these motherfuckers be living the worst. And this was, like 2011, 10, 12, something when I filmed that. And it's probably a whole lot worse out there. I couldn't.
From what I heard, it's fucking Wild West right now.
Yeah, bro. So I couldn't. And that when I was filming, like I didn't eat, bro. I filmed in all these hoods. I got invited to so many homeboy hoods to go film. One thing I never had to do was take a gun with me to any of these hoods. I never had a strap on me, not one time. Didn't nobody threaten to steal my camera. Didn't nobody try to punk me or treat me like a bitch or no shit like that. Nothing but respect from all these homies that I went and filmed to every single one of these hoods. Nothing foul ever tried to go down. So, I was out there filming. I'm thinking now, like, fuck, if I was young, so I ain't definitely, man, I'm going to have 2 straps if I go out there, and go film. But
nowadays.
Yeah, bro, I think, it's a lot different, a lot worse out there. But just to be out there was a trip. Like, fuck, this is crazy. And that was the Barrio to Barrio, I think, most, like, impactful one that I seen. And from the streets to the studio, man, that's a good question right there.
So many notable moments. San Ho.
I don't know. I kind of... Man, it's hard to say. The San Ho footage was fun, bro. Like, literally the stuff it'd probably be the San Ho footage because some of the stuff that happened, like when everybody was in the middle of the street just going hypey out there and having fun. Like, man, I've had people watch that footage today and say, man, it will never be like that again. Or, man, it's not like that now. And I thought, like, fools would be cracking way more out there. Like nah, bro, they're shutting that shit down so quick. And, bro, we would literally take over a whole street. And everybody's just having fun. Motherfuckers just getting at little beezies over here. And, fools out there doing their thing and just doing donuts or, lighting them up on the corner. It was hella fun out there, bro. We had so much fun. And so I think that was probably the most impactful from that, but on a fun level, like, bro, we had such good times out there, and just to watch it, like, damn, that was fun back then. Man, it was just crazy how people used to get it.
So, man, yeah, I love like all those segments, even the Central Valley ones, and like all that, because we're living in a small town like I am. I've never seen that unless I see a DVD like that back in the day. So that was really cool to see.
Yeah, that's what I got from a lot of people too. That was their first look into seeing how homeboys live, because before that, mine wasn't the first street DVD or underground DVD to drop. You had Hood to Hood before me. You had like Sideways to Sideshow DVDs. Live from the Gut. You had all kinds of stuff dropping back then. But mine was the first one that showed you how like the other ones would be like all the black hoods and stuff like that, or just any hoods in general and shit, but the majority like black hoods, and then maybe you'd see like a couple Latinos in there, or they'd go to like a homie hood or something, like, and you see one homie maybe on there, or Woody, or it's like a rapper real quick, but that was it. There wasn't nothing dedicated to us, and I was just like, man, I'm recording our shit because I want to tell our story. I don't want anybody telling our story but us, and so that's why I put it out there. And the first one was more of like a montage. That's why if you look at it, a lot of music in the background and more of kind of like hyping it up, like this is just how we live and we're having fun, because that's what was big back then. It was like those montage underground DVDs like that. And then the second one, I started getting more professional, and I watched the first one, and I seen a lot of errors that I did in interviewing, and I'd be interviewing people and laughing hell loud, like, hey, what's up? Just giggling in the background. And I told myself, like, man, I need to stop laughing this much because it's fucking up the interviews. And so I would watch that and be like, all right, next one, this is how I'm going to do it. So for Barrio to Barrio, I wanted it to be like an actual documentary, like, this is a movie about our lives and shit and how we live. And so that's why it looks a little bit more, a little bit more professional. professional, but it has a little bit more style to it as opposed to the other one was more for, I guess, like shock, you know.
Exactly.
It's like,
like Tito B narrating the whole thing, so that was pretty dope to see.
Yeah, and I wrote all that narration for him, and even I've uploaded the narration before because I have all, you know, the original. When he did the narration, I have the original files for it, and he was so mad, bro. He was so fucking pissed because he's like, I don't fucking talk like this, and I'm like, motherfucker, just read what I wrote for you. And he's like, I don't fucking talk like this, and I'm like, I don't give a fuck. You just gotta read what's on the page. And you know, we're going back and forth at the fucking studio and shit. I'm you know, on one side with Abe Legend, and he's in the fucking sound booth, and I'm like, motherfucker, just what I told you, just read that shit, you know. So yeah, he was so fucking mad reading that shit. He was getting so frustrated, but we finally got it. And yeah, that I just wanted it to be as professional as can be, because I submitted it to film festivals, bro. I tried so hard with that DVD, bro, and I was let down almost like on all fronts and shit, just because by the time the DVD came out, it was 7 years after From the Streets to the Studio. So From the Streets to the Studio came out in 2007. Barrio to Barrio is 2014. By the time that came out, bro, digital shit was already coming in. Not too many people were buying DVDs anymore. People were almost done buying physical media at that time. So trying to sell DVDs was like, fuck, bro. Like the first one came out, I sold them instantly. Second one came out, like, all right, they sold all right this time. Second one, all right, you know, it's not selling as fast. And so, man, I probably sold half the units I did, you know, on Barrio to Barrio that I did From the Streets to the Studio, just because of the gap in the time frame that nobody's buying physical media anymore. They want digital, they want downloads, they want all that shit. So that really hurt when I did that. And also when I tried to do it, like I wanted to put it in film festivals, and I sent it to so many Latino film festivals, the fucking Chicano film festivals. None of these motherfuckers replied to me. Nobody hit me back. No outlets hit me up. When they had that dirty ass cop scene in San Ho, I talked with the local, they're like a community activist group, a Debug in San Jose. I showed them. They didn't give a fuck. That's literally what they do, is protest the police. You know what I mean? Like, that's their job. They didn't give a fuck. They're just like, and most other people are just like, well, they're gang members. You know, fucking, who gives a fuck if a cop's talking to a gang member saying all this illegal shit? Nobody gives a fuck. And so I thought it was going to be more impactful, and, you know, I was kind of let down because nobody else gave a fuck. The homies loved it, bro. The homies fucking loved it, and all the supporters loved it. But your average person, you know, they were just like, I don't give a fuck about gangs, or if anybody, these guys are getting treated wrong, or, you know, fucking illegal shit. If it ain't, you know, some like shock value shit, we really don't give a fuck, you know. So I was kind of let down on that front. I didn't get any support from any fucking Chicano groups or film festivals or anything that had to do. Nobody fucking supported it. So it was just us, bro. It's just literally the homies supported it, and that was it, you know. That's why I always got love for the streets and the homies. They've always supported my shit. When people say, well, you know, why do you support the Homeboy and you only have that one genre and it's all, you know, Norteño rap? Because these are the motherfuckers that have supported me, bro. When nobody, you know, people, Chicano, fucking people, we need to rise together. Man, we ain't all rising up together, because ain't nobody fucking supporting us when we need it. We're supporting a lot of other people's shit, but a lot of people just weren't supporting. And, you know, it kind of fucked me up when I did that, and I was kind of pissed about that shit. But, you know, it was what it was, bro. And fucking my DVD still did good. I still made money, you know, all that shit. But I just thought I could have did a lot more if I would have had support from like other, you know, film festivals and other I sent my shit to other Chicano pages in the early days of social media, you know, Instagram and that stuff. I'm sending it to all these pages. These fools didn't give a fuck, so it was what it was.
Yeah, it's there a lot. You know, there's a lot of good shit on there. I mean, the DJMT part was one of my favorite segments. Just glued to really hearing.
Oh yeah, he was cool, man. He was fucking cool, man. DJMT, yeah, he was a real fucking cool guy. He invited me out. I got some of the extra footage in my computer too from when we did that. He drove me all around Tracy, told me kind of the history of Tracy. We went back to his pad and then interviewed him over there. And yeah, his son was a DJ, and he was showing us how he was scratching, and he was showing me all his CD collections and all his posters and all.
Oh yeah,
he was a cool ass dude, bro. He was so cool. Invited out there, said come on out, we'll do the interview. And then the homies were all set up over there to, like, at the park after I interviewed him, and then I'd go with Scarface and all that. But yeah, he was a cool dude, bro. He had a lot of knowledge. I just thought it was a trip that nobody had interviewed him. Like, the dude had been rapping since like the 80s, you know what I mean? Like one of the first Homeboy rappers. And I don't know if he was rapping before Dino, or maybe they were rapping around the same time. time. I don't know who started first. They were literally like starting at the same times, but yeah, he had a lot of good history, bro. His collection and his knowledge of stuff was, man, it was just crazy to pick his brain and find out all this stuff that, you know, he had lived through during his time. Because, yeah, when he said, you know, getting the mic passed to you when you were Mexican back in the day rapping, it was almost, you know, it was non-existent, hard to get on the mic, that kind of stuff. You're like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense, you know. We didn't really have too many rappers back then, so if you were rapping, they're like, we don't want to hear that kind of stuff, you know. So, yeah, it just shows you how far we've come. And then years later, he's like one of, you know, the most well-known homeboy rappers. People love his music. They collect his stuff if they can find it. You know, they pay good money for his CDs and tapes. So, yeah, that was a good interview to get with him. And yeah, he's a real cool guy. R.I.P. man, miss that guy. Cool dude right there.
Fuck yeah, bro. And when it came to like your adventures back in the day, you know, you went to so many spots. One thing I wanted to ask you, because you were on the back cover of the Northern Exposure 4.
Yep.
How was that whole experience working with, like, you know, not working, but like being a part of that photo shoot with Woody?
That was, I got invited by Oso, so that was when I was doing the No Love clothing, and Oso was like, hey, I'm going to go out and do this photo shoot. Me and Oso, we used to roll together everywhere. I'd tell him, hey, I'm going to this, come with me. Hey, he'd do the same thing, I'm going to this, you should roll with me. And so he told me he was going to go do that, and I didn't know what to expect. I thought we were going to pull up to like a park or something like that. You know, there's going to be all these homies out there. So I had told him, all right, come pick me up. He picked me up in his caddy. I'm going to bring all my No Love gear. So I brought hella No Love clothing. I thought we were just going to pop the trunk and start, you know, selling clothes over there. But we pulled up, and it was in back of Bayside Distribution, their warehouse in West Sacramento. And it was like 9, 10 o'clock at night by the time we got there. Freezing, bro. It was so fucking cold. That's all I remember. It was free. Like, we were out there just shivering and shit, waiting for that photo shoot. Took forever. I remember it was in the back of the warehouse. They had Woody's Skylark out there. Remember the dudes out there wetting the concrete so you get that little glow off of, you know, the little like reflection off of the water. Did all that. I remember I'm there, and Woody's like, hey man, can you help him? Can you hold this light, bro? He needs help with this light. And like, I don't really know Woody too good, and you know me, I'm like one of them street homies at the time, and I was like, fuck this motherfucker. I mean, I look like a light guy or something? You know? I'm like, man, this motherfucker got, all right, man, I'll help you out. So I'm holding the fucking light, and then I jumped in on one picture, and I was in the back, and you know, when it came out, I see myself on the back. I was like, oh shit, you know, I made it right there. But yeah, that was one of those ones like, hey, jump in the picture, the camera guy. And so I'm in there back there. I got my No Love shirt on, my red beanie, and all that stuff. And yeah, they, you know, I came out, and I see myself, and I was like, oh hell yeah, that's dope right there. But yeah, it was cool. You know, Woody the whole time he's just coordinating everything. His homies are over there waiting on the sidelines, and I remember the guy, we were freezing, and we told the guy like, fuck man, can we go in the building or something? Like, it's cold. Dude opened the building, we walk in, talking enormous Walmart sized warehouse filled with CDs, thousands and probably millions of CDs, just rows, yards and yards of rows fucking going down, and we're just looking like, oh shit. And look over, there's a cart right there, and it's just filled with like all the newest Bay Area rap titles. I remember I looked and I seen Black and Brown. It was their Screwed and Chopped album. It was the Ride of Thugs, and I was like, what the oh shit. Put that one, I'll just take that one. And everybody, we were all grabbing CDs and stuff in them, yeah. And then after that, Woody came out, and everybody that was there, he came with his, you know, his box. All right, here you go, man. I think he gave me like maybe Northern Exposure 2 or something like that. And I got a free CD, and then the one I, you know, came up in the warehouse. Yeah. But yeah, it was pretty cool, man. It was a cool little experience. But yeah, I took all those clothes over there, and I remember I was recording, but when I got there, it didn't, you know, I didn't really know them like that, and I didn't know his homies from Antioch, so it wasn't one of those things like today where you just get out and start filming there, like, you're kind of like, all right, let me put these fools might start tripping or something, you know, so you're kind of waiting to see, you know, the vibe of the area. But yeah, once you got out, you're chilling. I even forgot to pull my camera, and all I got is like footage of us leaving. But yeah, that was that whole day, and man, that was a cold fucking night, let me tell you. That was cold right there. But yeah, that was my Northern Exposure 4 little debut on the back right there. People always trip when I tell them like, hey, see that? Nah, that ain't, oh damn, that's you. Like, yeah, that's me right there, that's me.
Right. So. That's fucking cool to tell, you know, hey, check it out, Badge of Honor. I'm
project.
It's somehow,
cool.
some form.
Got a little bit of, you know, video of it. You see a Skylark in the video and all that stuff, but it was on our way out, and it was dark at night too. Yeah, but yeah, you know, I got the memories and shit, so I know I was there. People see me on the picture, so yeah, I was there. That was me. That's me in the red beanie. So
that's true. That. Out of all the homeboy rappers that came out during the era where you started, doing your stuff, like, and not a lot of them, nowadays are still around. But which one do you think like had the best potential to still be big, bigger than they ever were?
To be bigger, I think it was Speedy, man. Like if if we didn't lose Speedy, I think he could have went on to be so much bigger, man. Like if he had just another 5 or 10 years, he would have probably been traveling and doing out-of-state shows. I mean, because if you've seen what like Tito B was doing, carrying on the Stars and Limit name, like Tito B was real popular for Stars and Limit. But Speedy was like, man, they wanted to see him. So it was a trip, like the way I seen it, because they love Speedy so much, and I always just in my head seen it that he was a relatable guy when you seen him. He reminded you of like a brother or a cousin, like if you live in the hood or the body or something like that. Like he was a kind of guy that you see in a lot of people when you look at him. So I think he was real relatable like that, since Dino was more the like. He was relatable in the sense that you had uncles like him or dads like him when he was rapping. Speedy was a part of that second generation where he was the youngster, and you're like, man, I got a younger brother like him, or older brother, or a cousin, or somebody like that. So I think he was really relatable as a person, as an artist, as where he comes from, from the hood, the way he lived and and acted, even dressed and his style and all that. He was really into like, I think like Fat Farm, he'd wear like a lot of that stuff back in the day. So I think if he would have had more time on his hands, he would have definitely gone a lot farther, and he would have been out of state performing. I mean, he was performing up and down NorCal all day, all these events, man, and people were loving him. People were showing up to see him. When them fools from Dakota would pull up to an event, there'd be hell of them out, 20, 30 of these fools walking. They made, their presence known when they showed up over there. So I think he would have done big things, man. He would have been all over. And he made some bad music too. Like his music was so sick back in the days, man. Those beats that Bugsy was dropping for him, and they just had like a good chemistry together. Bugsy dropping the beats and Speedy, hitting the raps and stuff, and he had some really good lyrics on there, and good songs with good content and stuff. So I think he would have went really far if he would have had some more time on his hands. I think he would have been the one. And Woody, Woody was super popular too. I think Woody would have went a lot farther too. But he was pretty much, I think he was just at where he was because he had distribution, he had all that stuff, but Speedy wasn't really getting distributed at that level. That Woody was on Koch and he had all that going for him. He fucking went hella far, man. But I think if Speedy would have had that kind of distribution behind him and more people helping out, I think he would have went so much farther, bro. Like his movement could have been like a Mac Dre movement almost. Yeah. I that's one thing that it hurts me so much to see that he didn't get it like that, where when Mac Dre passed, man, people were behind. The whole Bay got behind it. Homies and everybody, they were behind that and they were repping it. And I think he could have did that if more people would have played their part and pushed it the way they should. So
yeah, rest in peace to Speedy Loc.
Yeah, definitely rest in peace.
For sure.
Stars Limit legend right there.
That's right. And can you tell me about the story of how you met Tito B? And can you tell us any notable fun story about Tito?
Oh man, I got a million stories about Tito B. Tito B, I can't tell you the exact day I met Tito B. It's one of those things where he was always around at Bugsy's and Hayward and shit. So when you'd go over to Bugsy's, like there was always some rappers over at Bugsy's because he's either recording a song, making a beat for them, he's doing their graphics, or he's just kicking it with homies from his hood. Like his homies were always around over there. So I know when I started going over to Bugsy's, that's how I met him there. And then I remember talking to him, and it was a trip because we had met, and then we started, collabing, and he'd be like, hey, man, I like that No Love stuff you're doing. I'm like, yeah, let me get some of those albums, and that's how we started meeting little by little. But we ended up finding out that we knew each other as kids, like me and him. His aunt used to date my uncle, and I always remember his aunt. She'd be in the family photos in our living room and at our house and Christmas and all that. Like they were in, like a serious relationship for a long time. They were in love and didn't even know until one day I went to Colorado after I met them in around 2000, 2001 when I started kicking it with Stars of Limit. And I went on a family trip to Colorado, and my family bust out some photos, and there's a picture. Yeah, so I'm in Colorado and I see a picture, and there's me as a baby in front of my grandma's house, and I see a kid holding me, and like the kid had was missing his hand, and I go, oh man, I got a homie like that. And I told one of my family members, I go, yeah, one of my partners, he don't have his hand right there. And I go, my partner Tito. They go, oh, that's that kid's name. His name's Tito. And I'm like, and I look at the picture. I'm like, what the fuck? That's fucking Tito. Like, yeah. And come to find out, I asked my family. They're like, oh yeah. Tito used to always come over to the house. They said his aunt used to bring him over all the time, and she would, bring him to the house, and grandma or your nana would make him breakfast, or bring him by, but he was always at the house with him. I'm like, what the fuck, that's a trip. And I came back, I told him. He's like, what, fool? And we're tripping off, and then I think he asked his aunt. She's like, oh yeah, oh, that's such and such's nephew. Like, yeah, that's him. Oh, I remember him. So yeah, that we had known each other even before reconnected, knowing each other again. But yeah, it was just a trip that we had already history going back. And when I asked my family members, they're like, oh yeah, he used to always come over. I remember him. They specifically remembered him as a kid. And so it was just a trip to know. And then this was when we met, maybe around 2001, 2002. I think I told him about that. And then 20 years later, I know the guy, and fucking went on a million trips with him. And fuck, man, we had so much fucking fun on the road, bro. Like, I really can't even explain how much good times and shit. I mean, there was times where, we're fucking riding in our car and we're just going to the 559, going to Sacramento. This fool, hey, fool, what are you doing today? None, just at the pad. Yeah, you want to go drop off some CDs in Sacramento? Are you paying for gas? Yeah, fucking go pick me up. All right, I'm going. We go to Dakota, pick this fool up, go to Sacramento, we go to Woodland, we go to Yuba City, we go to Chico. We take the whole trip, come back around. By the time we get back, we're about $500 to $1,000 richer and feeling a little better about ourselves. And, we have so many fun trips, bro. I remember being out there in the 530, driving through them back roads, and this fool would be telling me about the Beatles, because he was a huge Beatles fan. His dad was a big Beatles fan, and he taught him about the Beatles. And so he would tell me, and he'd be like, oh, you don't listen to the Beatles? I'm like, fuck those motherfuckers, man. It's all about Elvis, fool. Fuck the Beatles. He'd be like, man, fuck Elvis. And, we start getting into that shit, and he'd start telling me stories. And I remember being on those back roads in the 530 where he's playing the Beatles for the first time for me. And he's like, you never heard of Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Band? And this, I never heard none of this shit. And, just when I hear those songs to this day, I think of those times riding around with him and, just being at shows with that fool. Like, Tito B knew when to turn it on and shit, man, because, like, I dealt with a lot of homeboys that have been in front of my camera for years, bro, and a lot of them fucking, it's the classic cholo type shit where you put the camera on, fools like, what's up, man, or what are you recording for that? The fucking super questionable, and they don't really want to be themselves or who the fuck they are, with their friends in front of the camera. They want to keep, like, a hardcore image. And I turned it on for that fool. Hey, fool, you ready? All right, let's do it. Bam. Filming. Hey, what's good? It's Tito B. Like, he knew it, bro. And like I said, I've recorded a lot of homies. You put that camera on and they're just, they're super timid about shit. They don't want to, be themselves. This fool just turned it on and fucking, he didn't turn it off until the camera was off. And that's one of the reasons I recorded him. Yeah, bro, and he was ready to turn it on at any second. He could turn it off and just, you'd be bullshitting with him like nothing. But that's one of the things I miss about him, and just bullshitting with him. And I call that fool on the phone. Hey, what the fuck you doing, you stupid motherfucker? Fuck you, mother. That kind of shit. We'd just be talking shit to each other. Like I said before in the interview I did, I don't really have those kind of conversations with people anymore. It's hard to, people don't talk like that to each other. They want to be super serious, and me and that fool would just be bullshitting and, shooting the shit and all that. And that was like my friend right there and shit, man. He's one of the few friends I had, and that fool, he would invite me over to his house, and Christmas, he'd invite me over to his house on my birthday, and I get there and he's got a fucking cake there for me, and he's like, bro, happy cake says happy birthday, no love, and fucking it's him and his kids and his wife, and they're there throwing me a little party that even my own homeboys from my hood didn't fucking call me up to have a beer, to call me and say happy birthday or none of that shit, so that dude, he was a friend, he was a good guy, man. And if you were in his circle and he considered you a friend, like, that motherfucker invited you to everything. You were at the family parties, he always thought of you. And like, straight up, man, when I bought my house, this fool sent me my fucking first housewarming gift and shit, bro. Like, this fucking tortilla blanket right here, I keep it fucking on my couch. This was my first fucking housewarming gift someone sent me right there. And yeah, he was like, hey fool, what's your address? And I gave it to him. A couple days later, he sent me that fucking blanket. And yeah, I've always kept it on there. I always think of him when I see it. But he was one of those kind of guys and shit. He always thought about you if he was his friend and shit. He sent me fucking postcards everywhere he went. When he'd go to Hawaii, Disneyland, he knew I liked postcards, and I collected postcards because I'd always buy them every trip. Any state, any city I ever went to, I bought postcards postcards everywhere I traveled. And I would send them to homies locked up, or, you know, keep them for my wall, my collections. But he would always send me postcards when he traveled, because he knew I collected them. You know, he'd be talking shit on the back and, you know, saying something stupid, or, you know, hey, you need to come with us next time. And even him, he'd go on family trips. It'd be him and his wife, and he'd be like, hey, No Love's coming with us. You know, I'd be the fucking third wheel or the fifth wheel and shit. And, hey, we're going to Tahoe for a family trip. Hey, we're bringing No Love. Like, I was on their family trips. It'd be him and his wife going to, hey, if we want to come, like, you know, it was one of those things. And I filmed a lot of this fool's life. And one thing that people don't know, and I don't really talk about it too much. I tell maybe my friends and shit like that, but he told me, you know, years ago, and fucking, I've recorded everything in his life, but there was one thing I didn't record, and it was the only thing he told me to record, and I didn't record. And fucking, you know, I kind of wish I would have, but it's hard, man. Like, fucking, when he was alive, I remember he told me, he goes, bro, you know, if I ever die, fool, you're gonna record at my funeral and shit. He's like, I told my wife, and fucking, you know, Drea, she was like, yeah, he told me. And he goes, so when I die, fucking, you know, you're gonna be recording at my funeral and shit, to, you know, kind of end the Tito B story, like one of those things. But when he died, like, I couldn't do, you know, I was one of his pallbearers and shit, bro, but fucking, I just couldn't do it, you know what I mean? Like, it was fucking hard. Like, I almost know what Bugsy felt like, you know, having to do shit for, you know, Speedy and the editing and stuff, because I couldn't do it, bro. Like, I couldn't fucking film my homeboys fucking, even though he told me, even though his wife knew it was okay for me to film, like, I couldn't do it, bro. Another homeboy from the 559, Fat Joe, he filmed, and, you know, he did a good job when he filmed that, but I couldn't do it, bro. Like, it was too fucking hard, and it was the only fucking thing he ever told me to record that I didn't record. And I kind of feel bad, but, you know, I had to carry my boy in his casket, you know, to his fucking grave and shit, man. And it's just one of those things that, you know, I kind of wish I could have, but, you know, it is what it is, bro. When you're in the moment, I was there grieving for my homie, and I just couldn't do it, bro. I couldn't record his fucking casket dropping and shit. So, you know, it's one of those things. But yeah, you know, thankfully, me and him, we said our goodbyes and shit. A lot of people, I know, and a lot of people that die, bro, and you don't get to say goodbye, and you don't get to tell someone you love them, and they tell you know, they love you and shit. But, you know, I didn't have a good feeling when he was sick, and he was only able to text and shit, you know, because he couldn't talk, because he had like tubes and shit in him. So I would tell, hey, how you doing today, fool? Keep fighting. You know, I text him after I found out, hey, keep fighting, you know, that he was in the hospital, because I didn't even know for like, he had been in the hospital for like 2 or 3 weeks sick, and I didn't know, because, you know, he lived in Patterson, I live in Manteca, and Bugsy just calls me one day, he's like, hey, bro, fucking Tito's in the hospital. I'm like, fuck you mean Tito's in the hospital? What happened to him? He's sick. I'm like, what the fuck? Oh shit. So, you know, I'm texting him, and I don't even think I was able to talk to him at that point. It was just texting, but, you know, I just didn't have a good feeling. And I remember I texted him, and I told him, hey, bro, I just want to tell you, like, you've always been like a real friend to me and shit, and, you know, a lot of motherfuckers ain't done shit for me in this life, but you and your family always did. So for that, you'll always be my brother, and I love you. And, you know, fucking, and he replied back, and he said, you know, I love you, brother. And, you know, that was kind of like a couple of our last texts right there. But, you know, I was able to say goodbye to him and shit. But, you know, it's just one of those things, man. Those are, you know, a lot of memories I have of my homie, and, you know, to this day, I'm gonna still keep his name alive. I'm gonna tell people about him. I'm gonna tell people, you know, stories about him and the shit he did and his music and shit. There's some days I just let his music play on my phone, and I turn the volume down just so, you know, maybe his family gets paid for, you know, people listening to his music and downloading his shit. So, you know, whatever for my homie. And, you know, I have all this footage, and he used to be the one telling me when he was alive, he was like, bro, you need to tell these stories. This is literally what he told me. You gotta tell these fucking stories, fool. Like, you can write, you can fucking tell, you know, people how it was and shit. You need to do it. And there was a movie, it was called Almost Famous. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's about a guy who was a writer for like all the rock stars and shit in the 70s, and he would be telling me like, that's you, fool, that's you right there. You're gonna be writing all our stories and shit. And, you know, so I feel like it's my job, not just something I do as a hobby, but like I'm supposed to be doing this, bro. And like, if God's allowing me to be here to do it, then this is what I'm supposed to do, you know what I mean? So right. It's one of those things that I got so many good stories about him, and so many times we're ready to fucking knock each other's heads off. We're mad because we've been on the road for fucking 12 hours with each other driving up and down fucking California, and other times where we laughed so fucking hard that our sides were hurting and shit, and fucking, you know, you're laughing tears and shit like that. You're laughing so fucking hard, man. But you know, it was a lot of good memories, and thankfully I was able to record almost all of that shit, man. A lot of people can't look back on their lives and watch it for what it was, but you know, I'm one of those people that I could look back on a lot of the shit I've done, and I got the fucking footage to, you know, back it up too, in the receipts. So that's my memories of my boy Tito.
That's right, man. Rest in peace to the legend.
Rest in peace.
You know what I'm saying? Now, bringing it back to a more lighter note, we're gonna talk about your top 5 favorite rappers of all time. Now, there's 3 lists of this that I want to do with you. So,
all right,
give me your top 5 favorite rappers of all time, your top 5 favorite Homeboy rappers of all time, and top 5 favorite Homeboy rap albums.
Top 5 rappers. It's hard to say now, is right, because I'm kind of like a person who, you know, whatever I like today is what I'll like for the next week, and then I'll fucking get attached to something else next week. I had my favorite rappers some years back, and it was like, you know, Kanye was always one of my favorite rappers. Young Jeezy was always one of my favorite rappers. Immortal Technique was always one of my favorite rappers. Like, those are just, you know, as rappers, aside from Homeboy Rap, those were some of the guys I like to listen to. And fucking, you know, J. Cole, like for modern shit, it'd be like J. Cole and Kendrick. Like, those two fucking guys, I could listen to any of their albums, almost fucking 99% of their songs, and just get in the zone and be like, all right, this is what I'm feeling. But yeah, I'd probably have to put that as like a top 5 for me. I really like J. Cole, Kendrick. J. Cole, just that softer kind of music, you know, where you're putting your whole feeling into it. That, you know, I like that hard shit by Kendrick. He goes hard on his beats, but there's some times where, you know, the sun's setting and you want to get that movie, you know, that fucking mood just right and shit. You crack on that Kendrick, like, all right, cool, it's about to start the nighttime, you know. So yeah, that's for like modern shit. That's what I have to put it at right there.
Okay. Now, Homeboy Rap.
Homeboy Rap. For Homeboy Rap, I think it would be Mousy, probably number 1. Lyrically, I've known Mousy for years, and lyrically, he's probably one of the best out there. Like, and that's like not just writing the lyric. Like, this full spit freestyle, just straight up hit you with the freestyle. And I remember one time, like, fucking, just a quick memory, like, I was such a big fan of his, and I would pump his shit so much and telling people, you need to fucking listen to this fool shit. This fool's a lyrical fucking beast. And I went to his pad one time, and I used to tell him, like, man, you need to fucking get your shit out. Send your shit to the fucking, you know, this and that. And I go to his pad, and I look, you know, I pass by his garbage, and I see a CD in the garbage. And, you know, we were always looking at disc, and I see it, and it's a fucking, like, a CD that was supposed to go to The Source, like one of his mixtape. He was going to send to, like, The Source or one of these magazines, and it was in the fucking garbage. And I'm like, bro, what the fuck, fool? What the fuck are you doing? But you know, you're one of the tightest motherfuckers out here. You really doubting yourself like that? Send this motherfucker in, you know? The fuck? Like, this fool's one of my favorite fucking rappers in there. I'm seeing him doubt himself. Like, man, like, that just put it in my mind, like, you know, you're your worst enemy sometimes and shit, bro. Like, once you really think, like, nah, these motherfuckers don't want to hear it. And when I see now, it's just like, damn, man. You know, it kind of hurt me and shit to see that, man, because he's such a fucking talented guy, and you're just like, man, it's just, fuck, man, if people just did things without even thinking of the consequence, just send your shit, and, you know, what's the worst they could say? No. And, you know, so he's one of my favorite rappers, and that's just a little story that fucking behind it, you know. But yeah, I'd say like him. Who else? I think Doc 9. I like Doc 9 a lot. Most of the shit I've ever listened to on Doc 9, I've been a big fan of, even especially his beats that he gets off on. He's pretty sick. Woody, definitely a top. Speedy would be a top one. And then I'd probably say maybe Sir Dino, just because Sir Dino's so lyrical, bro. Like, I mean, he doesn't even cuss. You don't realize he doesn't cuss in his raps until fucking someone tells you, and you're like, oh shit, that's right, I've never heard him, you know, cuss before. He don't cuss or none of that shit. So most fools cuss because they're running out of words. You know what I mean? Like, you start cussing and saying this shit because you ain't got fucking much in the vocabulary. But to not use any cuss words, like, that dude's got a fucking huge vocabulary, and he showed it in his raps a lot. So I'd probably say, you know, those would be like a top 5 right there. So yeah, I think I could be comfortable saying that.
Interesting you didn't put Tito on that list.
You know, I've had people say that to me, bro, and they say, why? Like, I even had someone say, what the fuck, that boy, you're like mad about it. And I told Tito, bro, when he was alive, he'd be like, oh, what the fuck, you didn't listen to my album? I'm like, dude, that fucking album sucks. I don't even like that fucking, like, I would tell him, I'm like, fool, what the fuck, you think you're my favorite fucking rapper? Like, fuck no, I like fucking this and this and he'd be like, what the fuck, fool, you didn't like that song? I'm like, fuck, that song was stupid, like, because he's my homie, you know what I mean? I could talk to him and fucking, I used to always tell him, I would tell him, man, Tito, Pimpin' Hustlin' Gangsta Mob shit was like alright. I like 2 or 3 songs on there. Like Stars Limit, that's a good album right there. One for those of I'd be fucking all, you'd be like, man, fuck you, fool, you didn't like it? Man, fuck that. That song was stupid and I didn't like that song and your fucking rap on that one was stupid. So we'd always get into it, but yeah, I'd tell him, you're not my favorite rapper, fool. I like these motherfuckers over here. And he would be like, oh, fuck you, fool. We'd be talking to each other like that, but you'd be surprised that, as homies, he was, my homie and shit, but for rappers, like, he was a really good rapper, but there was a lot of people I listened to and shit, and I would always tell him, like, fuck you, fool, I didn't like that song, you need to re-record that shit, because we was homies like that, we could talk to each other like that and shit, so, that I've had people ask that question before and have that same response, like, why isn't it Tito, so that's, we were always able to bullshit with each other like that, so.
Yeah, it's all good, though.
Yeah. What was your other top 5?
And now the last one is your top 5 favorite Homeboy Rap albums.
Homeboy Rap albums. Let me see. Oh man, that's rough right there.
Yeah, compilations included. I'm allowed you to include those.
I think, I would probably put Speedy Loc, Still Cali Thuggin is one of those right there, because I was a huge fan of that album. That album had so much just like love and feeling behind it. When you heard it, you're like, this fool's putting everything into it when you recorded that one. I was a big fan of Black and Brown back in the day, bro. I used to always, especially the Ride of Thugs album, like fucking Ride of Thugs was so fucking sick back in the day. What's the Traficantes, I think, is another one I could put up there, because that was just like a different level, and the music was completely different than anything we'd heard before, so I could probably put that up there. I'd probably have to put one of Tito's albums on there, maybe one for the homies or another one for the homies, one of those two, because they're both really good produced albums, and his features, lyrics in there, like, he really stepped it up on those 2 albums from what he was doing before, and so I'd probably put one of those in there. For another one, let's see, that's kind of hard. I like Criminal, bro, and I've always liked Mi Vida Loca X4, because the production, like, super underground the way it was done. Like, it wasn't freaking crazy, big studio, but it was just what he put into it. Like, he spit from the fucking heart. You could tell, like, that was him. That wasn't no gimmicks or anything. You could just tell that was him in those raps. So I'd probably say maybe Mi Vida Loca X4, maybe somewhere in there. Mm-hmm. And then a last one, man, that's rough right there. Shit, man.
Shuffling through all the ones in your mind. That one.
Yeah, that's Big Tone's got a lot of good stuff. I like Big Tone's because that Antioch sound. Antioch has its own sound, from when Woody was making those beats. Kev Knox kind of was able to fucking take that same feeling and start making his same style. So, man, it's hard. All right, so for the last one, I think we're gonna go from the Barrio of Love. That was one of the first ones I heard. That's the one that ruined my life, got me hooked on Homeboy Rap. So yeah, I think we're gonna go with that one. That's the classic right there. So yep, from the Barrio of Love.
Yeah, and hard to find too, like, it's one of the ones that are like, are one of the most solidified, like, original Homeboy Rap projects that's hard to find out there.
I think that was like one of the first major ones for Homeboy Rap that like really got out there with some, good distribution and stuff like that. So yeah, that's a classic right there.
So, are you proud of the impact and work that you've contributed to the game when it comes to Homeboy Rap?
Yeah, I don't regret anything, bro. I mean, the only thing I probably regret is probably would have saved more money. I mean, that's about it. But in this life, no matter how much money you spend, I've heard of people make $1 million this year and lose it all next year. So no matter how much you try to plan for the future, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. But I don't regret anything, bro. It's all made me who I am today. I'm proud of myself as a person, how much I've grown. I've come from these places. Like, bro, I grew up in a gang-banging ass house, 3rd generation gang member. Gramps was a gangster. Uncles were all gangsters, all that shit. So, to be able to live through that and still come out and be, a businessman and be able to conduct shit by yourself. And I've started multiple companies by myself and multiple ideas for trends that still continue this day. Like, I started that shit a long time ago, bro. And so, I'm proud I was able to be on the, on the front of the fucking bus and not the back of it, bro, because that, when people look back and you really dissect history, not this oh, who did the best to look right. Like, you look at who was really there when it started, bro. I came up with a lot of shit that homeboys still do to this day, bro. So I'm proud to say that I was, you know, there at the front, and I was coming up with some of the ideas. And maybe in 20 or 30 or 40 years, people actually say, you know, fucking give that guy his flowers. He was there, and fucking, you know, we appreciate everything he did. But I know what I contributed, and I know what fucking I did for Homeboys and Homeboy Rap. And so I'm happy, bro. You know, I can't complain.
That's right. That's why I've always been doing my part to make sure to give you your flowers when it comes to this, everything you do. You know, people don't do it as much. I make sure people recognize it.
I appreciate that, man. Yeah, you know, all I didn't really ever want anything but my credit, bro. I even tell people, like, man, if you use my videos, I don't give a fuck if you repost my shit or you take my video and put it on your page. Just give me my credit. Tag me. Just say, this is the guy who created that. I don't give a fuck, you know, about all the other shit. I just want people to know I'm the person who created that shit, bro. That's all I want is my credit, bro. When I die, put my name next to the shit that I did, you know, and that's all I want, bro. Fucking, I can't take that money with me, you know. So.
That's true. So what's next for No Love?
No Love. Right now I'm on the flea market hype and the garage sale, but honestly, I'm at a point where I'm old enough to kind of, you know, dissect my own life and see the things that, you know, make me happy. And so I look at it, bro. I love selling shit. Like, bro, when I was young and I used to sell things as a kid, I remember one of the first things I ever sold, my uncle came home with all these Pepsi Gotta Have It cards, and he was like, here, I got these for free from someone. Here, give them. You could probably sell them for like 50 cents each. And I'm like, oh shit, damn, I could sell these. I went to school and was literally 50 cents. Here, you can get like 10% off on your Pepsi purchases, and, you know, go buy a soda, you get 10% off. Fuck, man, fools are giving me 50 cents, and after that, it was baseball cards, and I started, you know, collecting and selling baseball cards, and, you know, I just always had that hustle mentality that if you give me something and you tell me what it is, and I learn about it and find out fucking how to sell it, I'm gonna make money on it. So now I figured out that I like doing what I do. I spent all these years going from the Bay to the Valley, finding CDs and posters and all that I'm gonna do this rap shit, bro. Like, I'm really gonna do this. I'm gonna push these CDs and these tapes. We're at that 20 to 30 year mark where all these people want their, you know, their stuff from back in the day when they were younger. They want their CD collections back. And, bro, I'm gonna get out there and buy all them CDs and tapes that I sold you 20 years ago on homeboyrap.com. I'm tracking them down, I'm buying them back, and then I'm flipping them for more money. Like, that's what I'm gonna do, bro. That's my goal. I started this shit 20 years ago for the homeboyrap.com movement, and I'm gonna keep doing it, bro. Like I said, I want to be at the front of the fucking bus and not the back of it. So that's my goal, is just to keep pushing the homeboy shit, keep doing the business stuff I do, and just do what I love, man. Selling stuff. Like, it's literally what it's such a rush, bro. Like, have you ever seen that movie Paid in Full, where this fool talks about just the rush of the hustle? Like, that's how I feel when I get out there. It's just fucking the love of the game and being there and doing that shit and finding something that ain't nobody seen in a long time. Like, I almost go treasure hunting 7 days a week, bro, and that's what the fuck I do for a living. So I hope to continue to do that if God blesses me and I get to continue to do those things. And that's what I want to do. Just keep getting this money, buying fucking your memories and selling them back to you. And that's what I like doing, bro. I'm a big person that I'm about memories, bro. Whether it's my memories that I'm giving to you on video, or it's your memories that I'm selling back to you from this 80s, 90s nostalgic stuff. Your teenage. I love hustling, bro. I love finding shit, selling it. Memories, history, and that's what I want to do. I want to go find your Lowrider magazines, your Teen Angels, your fucking Rare Woody CDs, shit that was sitting, you know, in a box that's about to get thrown out, and you're like, oh my god, I can't believe you found. That's the shit that, you know, makes me move in the day and makes me get out there, and that's what I love to do. So that's hopefully what's going to be next, and that's my plans. And just take homeboyrap.com, the site, barrio.com, the site, the movement, make all that, and just, you know, hopefully it keeps going for another 20 years, another 30 years, and, you know, we'll be doing another interview in 30 years where you're asking me, you know, how it's been since that last interview. Yep. So that's my goal, man.
Yep, same here, man. You know, make sure to keep up to date with No Love, you know?
I appreciate it.
Yeah, and I'd be remiss if I didn't ask, where did the name No Love come from?
No Love. So No Love, that's not even my name. I got that name, you know, people on the streets, they see the clothing, the company, they started calling me No Love. But No Love, that came from my homeboy Sin Lokz from my hood, Irvington, man. That's one of the OGs right there. That's one of the big homies, and shout out to him. He had a No Love tattoo right here on his arm, bro, and, you know, when he got out the pen, I'd be kicking it with him. I seen the No Love, and I came up with the idea, and I was like, like, man, if someone had a clothing company that said No Love, that'd probably do hella good. That'd sell. And I remember I hit him up and I was like, hey, bro, you should do like a clothing company, like a No Love clothing. Man, people will buy that shit. That'd be so sick. And, you know, my homie, he was in and out of jail and, you know, the pen. He was like, look, I ain't doing nothing with that shit, bro. Why don't you do it, man? You do that, man. He's like, I'm out here on these streets, you know. Why don't you start a company? And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I did. So I started No Love, and then me and my homeboy Ant came together, and, you know, we combined, and then we started doing the business together. And, you know, after that, people would call us No Love. He was No Love Ant, and then fools just always called me No Love outside that, you know, in Irvington and stuff. Hey, what's up, No Love? And I go to different hoods, and most fools can't say Perico Lokz, you know.
Yeah.
If you don't speak Spanish, they're not like, hey, what's up, Perico? They're fucking my name up, bro. So it's easier for them to call me No Love. So a lot of them just, hey, there's a homie No Love, because, you know, No Love, hey, it's No Love, you know. Yeah. So that's how I got the name, and yeah, so No Love. And now they call me Barrio. People be, hey, there's Barrio, you know, there's Barrio to Barrio. And so I get like a new name every business, bro. Every fucking business I start, I get like a new nickname. So
yeah, for sure. Anything else you want to ask the people at all before we wrap this up?
Ah, man, I just appreciate all you guys, man. Like, I've been doing this 20 plus years, and there's been so many people that have come in and out of my life, and, you know, that I've seen, and they've supported me, and they bought my stuff. I've had people that have been following me since my first Instagram post in 2011, and, you know, people that have followed me since, oh, I remember you on East Coco Forum in 2001, and, you know, people fucking from the streets and the Speedy Loc stuff. So there's people that have been watching, you know, the movie for a long time, bro. So I appreciate all those people. There's like you, I remember, I know your address by heart because I used to see the order pop up every single day, bro. Like, I could tell your address right now if it wasn't for the camera. So if it wasn't for the camera, I'd be like, oh yeah, that's his address right there. But that's just like, people have supported me so much, and like even to this day on Instagram, people always buy shit off me. I know their addresses by heart because they buy shit, you know, every other day, or, you know, a couple times a week or a month. So I appreciate that support. You guys don't know how much it means that you guys support me, and I'm able to live my dream and do the things that I want to do. And yeah, I ain't the richest motherfucker, and I ain't over here like, oh man, I'm making millions. Bro, I'm making money that I could pay my bills, pay my mortgage. I eat, my bills are paid, and I got all the things that I need and money in the bank. So man, if you can't be happy with that, then you kind of got to reevaluate yourself, and I'm happy with it right now. 10 years ago, you might have seen me complaining on Instagram, and I might not have been happy with that shit, but today, I'm happy with it, bro. You learn over time to appreciate your life and the things that God blesses you with, and that's where I'm at right now. I'm appreciative of everything that God gives me, whether it's one fan, whether it's 100 fans, whether it's 27 followers or 27,000 followers. Like, I appreciate all you guys. You guys have been helping me so much, and, you know, hopefully you guys will be there for another 20 years and see the stuff I've done, and maybe, you know, if I'm blessed with another 20 years on this earth and we're able to talk about it again in 20 years, man, let's do it. But appreciate all your guys' support out there. You guys supported my homeboy Tito B when he was alive. I appreciate that, and you guys continue to support him. All the love you showed him after he passed, I love to see that shit. I love when you guys tell me stories about how you met him, or, you know, this fool. One homie's like, oh yeah, I met that fool one time, and he gave me a CD, and he said, hey, you play that when the 49ers win. And the homie told me, he's like, I still got the CD. He said, the 49ers didn't win that year, bro, but I've always kept the CD in fucking sealed for when the day the fucking 49ers win the Super Bowl, I'm gonna play this shit for Tito B. You know, I fucking love to hear that shit, bro. It's just so, you know, you guys have supported a lot of my friends, a lot of my homies, and me as well, and that's supported my families, and we've been able to do the things we wanted. So, man, thank you guys so much, and, you know, I hope to see you guys out there, and, you know, let me know your stories. Tell me your stories about, you know, my homeboy Nola, my homeboy fucking Tito B, or if you've ever, you know, had stories about me. I like hearing that shit. Like I said, I'm about memories, and, you know, we can't take all this money with us, but at least we could have, you know, some good laughs and some good memories along the way, and, you know, share them with me. And like I said, I appreciate you guys. Much love for everything.
All right. No love. It's a pleasure and an honor.
Appreciate it, bro.
Interview you, brother.
Appreciate you coming out, man.
Yeah, of course, man. So, that being said, that's the wrap for the interview. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit the notification bell above so your new notification for an interview like this one drops. And make sure to follow No Love on all the social medias. Make sure to, you know what I'm saying, check out his Whatnot. Make sure to also check out his homeboryrap.com, right? Still up right now?
Yep, homeboryrap.com or bodytobodio.com. It's going to take you to the same site. I own both of them.
That's right. All links in the description below to check them out. And with that, we're out this bitch.